Okay, so we all hear about the flu every single year, right? But what you probably don't hear about is the specific bug that's often pulling the strings behind the absolute worst flu seasons. So today, we are pulling back the curtain on one of the biggest players in public health, a real viral mastermind named H3N2. I mean, you've probably wondered about this, right? Some years the flu is kind of just a nuisance, but then other years, boom, it feels like everyone's getting sick and hospitals are totally slammed. Well, a huge piece of that puzzle, and you've probably guessed it by now, is the very virus we're talking about today. All right, let's get into it. So, first things first, what in the world is H3N2? I know, that name sounds like a license plate or some kind of computer code. And honestly, that's not too far off. It's basically a scientific label that tells researchers exactly what they're looking at. Okay, so at its heart, H3N2 is a type of influenza A virus. But here's the kicker. It's not just our problem. It's what we call endemic, which is a fancy way of saying it's just always around. And not just in us, but in pigs and birds too. And that ability to jump between different species, oh man, that is absolutely key. It's the secret to its success, really.
So, about that name, H3N2, where does that even come from? Well, let's think of the virus like a burglar. The H stands for hemagglutinin. Think of that as the virus's skeleton key. It's what lets it pick the lock on our cells and get inside. Then you've got the N for neuraminidase. That's its getaway plan. It's the tool it uses to break back out of the cell so it can go infect more. And the numbers, the 3 and the 2, they're just like model numbers, telling us exactly which version of the skeleton key and the getaway tool this particular virus is using.
And look, understanding those H and N proteins, those keys, is so important. Why? Because H3N2's real superpower, its secret weapon, is that it can change them. It's a total master of disguise, constantly swapping out its tools to stay one step ahead of our immune systems. So how does it pull off this shape-shifting act? Well, for a long time, scientists have pointed to pigs. They called them mixing vessels for the flu. And it makes a lot of sense, because pigs are kind of unique. They can get infected with flu viruses from birds, and they can get infected with flu viruses from humans, all at the same time. So let's peek inside this mixing vessel. Just imagine one pig gets infected with a bird flu, a human flu, and a swine flu all at once. It's like a party for viruses. Inside that one animal, all their genetic material gets thrown together and shuffled around like a deck of cards. This whole process is called reassortment. And what comes out the other side? A totally new virus, a mashup. And the scary part is, it's a combination our immune systems have literally never ever seen before. Now, this whole shape-shifting thing, it's not just some weird science fact. It has had a huge, real-world impact. We're talking about some of the biggest, most serious outbreaks in modern history. H3N2 really made its grand and terrible entrance back in 1968 with the Hong Kong flu pandemic. But it didn't just have its one moment in the spotlight and then disappear. Oh no. Decades later, it was the main villain behind the really bad Fujian flu season. And more recently, it was the driving force of that particularly nasty US flu season in 2017. It's like this recurring character that shows up every so often to cause chaos. And just to give you a sense of how serious that first 1968 pandemic was, we're talking about an estimated 1 million deaths worldwide. That is the devastating power of a brand new virus being let loose on a world that has absolutely no defense against it. And out of that million, about 100,000 of those deaths were right here in the United States. So you see the pattern, right? The really crucial takeaway is this. When H3N2 makes one of its big evolutionary jumps, the results can be absolutely catastrophic. Okay, so this constant evolution isn't just history. It creates this massive challenge for us, right now, today. Every single year, it's like this high-stakes race between scientists and H3N2. It's a frantic game of cat and mouse, and the prize is a flu vaccine that actually works. So, what happens when the mouse outsmarts the cat, when the virus wins the race? Well, you just have to look at the 2017-18 flu season. The vaccine effectiveness against the main H3N2 strain that year dropped to a shocking 10% in some places. I mean, that's way down from the usual 40 to 60% we hope for. This is what's called a vaccine mismatch. And it happens because the virus moves so fast. By the time we've designed the vaccine, manufactured it, and shipped it out, H3N2 has already changed its disguise. Our immune systems are all geared up to fight last year's enemy. And this isn't just some problem from a few years ago. It's an ongoing threat.
I mean, there are planning scenarios for future seasons that map out this exact nightmare. A new H3N2 variant pops up after the vaccine for that year has already been decided on and made. It perfectly shows you the real-time, nail-biting challenge that scientists are facing constantly.
And it's not just about dodging vaccines. Nope. This virus also learns to beat our medicines. Get this. By 2005, H3N2 had already developed, get ready, 91% resistance to some of the older antiviral drugs like amidintine. It is a relentless arms race, and it's happening on every single front.
Okay, so let's pull all of this together. We've talked about what that crazy name means, how it does its shape-shifting act, and the serious damage it's done over the years. So why should you care about all this right now? Well, the simple answer is H3N2 isn't going anywhere.
So if we were to create a profile for this virus, what would it look like? Well, first, it's a species jumper. It hops between birds, pigs, and people. It evolves super fast through that genetic shuffling we talked about. It's the usual suspect behind severe flu seasons. It's got a history, a rap sheet of causing global pandemics. And it's a constantly moving target for vaccines. I mean, it basically checks every single box for a major ongoing threat to public health. And all of that leaves us with one big, kind of unsettling question. We know H3N2 is out there, right now, constantly shuffling that genetic deck of cards. We know it's going to keep changing. The one thing we just don't know is what its next big move is going to be.